The streets are saying 8-2, corner taken quickly, Laporta with his big ass belly messing up the whole Messi thing. People are saying, just do it because Barcelona are back. So let's read what I'm saying. Breaking official, Barcelona finally announced that an agreement has been reached with Nike for a new multi-year contract. It's real. It's real. Big time. And I think, remember, so this has obviously been in the works, with Barca trying to say what's up to Nike, because I think this all happened back in 98 when they first said what's up to Nike. But I think, it's huge because how have we referred to Barcelona? Lever FC, pulling all those levers to try to get stuff. And you have to understand, unlike the EPL, where it's the Wild Wild West, there are actually checks and balances in La Liga, and the amounts that you spend. So basically, costs and purchasing, everything has to be one-to-one. Everything has to be relative. So your wages have to be intact, and your wages with respect to how much you pay, everything has to be intact. So whereas in the EPL, you can spend however much you want. It doesn't matter how much you make through sponsors, you can spend how much you want. But depending on how much you make and your revenue, it has to be relative to what you're spending. So there has to be a correlation in La Liga, unlike the EPL where there's no correlation. So this is why it's been very difficult for Barca to really spend that big money on those specific players. But what this now provides is enough cheddar to now balance those books, and in order for them to now go out and actually just go out and just spend that big money rather than thinking of creative ways to now say what's up. So it's huge, but I think specifically, let's look at the numbers, because when you look at the numbers, it's crazy. So, because they're calling this the biggest deal in football history. And I've got something to say about that. I've got something to say about that, but let's just look at the numbers. So shout out to you, to the boys at Forbes. Shout out to my Forbes peeps. So the club didn't mention any figures, but Mundo Deportivo and outlets including Culemania. Okay, let's just focus on Mundo Deportivo, because Culemania, that's just another way of saying, that's just the Catalonian Madrid zone, have reported that Barca will receive $1.82 billion, which is 1.7 billion euros. That's a lot of cheddar. From Nike over 14 seasons at an average of around $129 million per year, or 121 million euros. From 2024 to 2028, the agreements will reportedly be improved by around 51.4 million, 48 million euros per year. Then beyond 2028, between 62 million and 64 million more per year. That's insane. That's insane. Because if you're saying that every year, and remember, there could be actual incremental increases, but if you're saying that every year, Barcelona are going to receive 121 million euros to spend, that's insane. Because what makes this scary is Barca don't even need to spend now. Who are Barca's key players right now? So you throw in Casado, you throw in Yamal, you throw in Cubarsí, and even I think it's what Bernal, who had that injury, Alejandro Balde. Most of their guys come from their academy. So Cubarsí and Yamal, they didn't have to spend a cent. Not one single peso. They didn't have to spend a single peso, a single freaking lira, a single yen. They didn't have to spend one kobo. They didn't have to spend one kobo on Cubarsí or Yamal. So for other clubs who may have a brick academy, you have to now go and spend 100 mil on a fidget spinner from a favela, or another 100 mil on a World Cup winner, not naming any club. But for Barca, bro, 60, 70 on a DM, maybe. 60, 70 on like a right back, left back. And we're good. And we're Gucci. But, and people are already making arts of it. Let's keep stacking up. Lewandowski's good. But let's keep an ear on that Swede that plays for that club in Lisbon. Because Lewandowski will retire soon. I mean, he's edging towards 40. I believe he's like 36 now. So Victor Hoke unfortunately did not work. So if you now spend the money on a Gyökeres, spend another money on a Leao, and reports are saying that Leao says he wants to go to Barca. He's waiting for Barcelona. And so this is the point that I wanted to bring up here. And it's about branding. And it's about what the club is. No matter how much hardship Barcelona go through and how difficult it is, as a company, I'm always going to keep my eye on Barcelona. So if I'm Nike or I'm Adidas or you're any of these big sports brands, Barcelona is still a very profitable brand because you look at the global fan base. You look at the iconic stadium. You look at the players who've played for them. Because when you think of Barca, you see, for me, because I'm a bit older, when I think of Barca, I think Rivaldo. And then I think Dino. See, really, for me, when I think Barca, because of watching football in the 90s, I think Kluivert, I think Rivaldo, I think Figo. Then I think Louis van Gaal and that team. So my first thought is Rivaldo. Go look at the guy's 3-piece against Valencia last day of the season to qualify for Europe. Insane. One of the craziest high-picks of all time. But for many people of a different generation, they think Coutinho. And for a whole lot of people, you think Messi, you think Iniesta, you think Xavi. And because that club is so iconic, and because Nike are smart in knowing that iconic club, iconic players, Messi, what Messi means, and Messi's association to Barcelona, and how the sport is still growing. Do you know what has shocked me the most? I'm like, okay, look, I think football has now matured right now and is now in this mature stage now. Football is still growing. What is insane is there are still more and more people getting into football. The amount of people I've spoken to who said, oh yeah, I just started watching football like 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And the amount of new people coming in, because football is such an easy sport to follow, unlike other sports. It's so easy to get into, and so easy to get into what the fanship and the passion about it, and it consumes you. So Nike, knowing that the rise of football that is still in its growth stage, and Barcelona, and what is the key point? This is the key thing here. Yamal. Now, we all thought it was going to be Mbappe, but I think what Nike have shown, and I think if they're now looking at the sports experts, is this kid, this could be the face of football. This could be the face of football. So if we now have sponsorships, advertisements, and we now do specific ads centered around the team and centered around on this kid, we are eating good. And when you just think of the kinds of kits they can bring, the merch they can bring, is crazy. Now, for me, Nike really were popping off in the 90s because, bro, I think I've got it here. That Brazil 98 Nike kits, crazy. So what I think is that Nike in the 90s was crazy. The Netherlands kits, the Brazil kits, the Nigeria kits in 98, Nike have some crazy kits. I think now Adidas might be those dudes now. I think Adidas are those dudes. But maybe with this and with Barca, because I tell right now, that Barca away kit is nice. Like, I may have to purchase that. That's Barca away kit. That's black kit. That's nice. That is a nice kit. So this is huge for Barcelona. And with what Hansi Flick is doing, I now input this money and looking at how well the academy players are playing and what they're doing, and those academy players don't cost anything. The future looks really good for Barcelona. The future looks... So if you're a Barca fan, and the thing is that Barca fans have suffered, bro, we were all here for 8-2, where I was bare-chested. We were here for corner taking quickly. We were here for all those beat downs, where we said Barca are finished. Madrid fans, man, it's looking tricky. It's looking very tricky. So all I have to do is just watch this damn spaceman. But yeah, Barca might be back. Guys, remember, guys, like that vid, subscribe, head over there, click that thing to subscribe, and join us tonight here for our live hangouts later tonight where we should discuss this topic and more. Peace.